there was ever a reason why you have to start studying with someone, let this story be a great example for that. So I had learned this Devar Torah, the beginning of this week's Torah portion, I don't know, it's well over three dozen times. And I always have like my one famous or two famous, pieces that I go off of. So I was studying this week with my study partner, and we see that at the end of last week's Torah portion, all the different tribes had brought different gifts to the temple. And in the beginning of this week's Torah portion, basically Aaron is upset, the high priest. He gets upset, and he says, kind of what's going on? Why can't I have a portion? And God's response is, your portion is actually going to be bigger than theirs, and you get to actually light the menorah, and it's this whole awesome situation. So I'm like, cool, that's great. And I was ready to just make a whole, kind of move on nicely. And my Havrusa, my learning partner, he kind of sat and he thought. And he said, does that make sense? Like, why can't he just be happy with other people's success? And I was like, good question. So what we came up with is the following concept. And again, I think it really dials into what the essence of leadership is all about. The question is, are you a leader that's selfish, a leader that's always trying to take responsibility for other, not responsibility, but taking credit for other people's good. Like, we hate people like that, right? We hate a jealous leader. A leader that's jealous can't lead, right? The idea of, it says this beautiful idea that you never get jealous of your students or your children, right? Of whatever success is, because you see yourself in them. So a genuine leader shouldn't be jealous. A genuine leader shouldn't be like, oh man, that guy's doing such a great job. Because if they're really leading, then, to a certain extent, they can say, well, my coaching, my leadership helped them get to that level. So we think of a leader as selfless. So then what's the deal with Aaron? Why was Aaron selfless? Watch this. I think there's a distinction. And I think that it was that Aaron wasn't happy that the other tribes, the heads of the tribes, were able to contribute to the temple. Rather, what Aaron was unhappy about was that there was an opportunity to grow and he had missed out on that. And so that's actually something that's absolutely fundamental to leadership, which is that the leader wants to just sit back. And yes, everyone's always going to give me, everyone thinks I do this all the time. But if the leader wants to sit back and basically say, cool, I built this, now you run with it, that's not leadership, right? A leader has to be willing to jump in, get his hands dirty, and work with the pack. And if he sees that there's other people that are getting better, the leader certainly cannot be thinking, cool, I'm there, I don't have to develop. And that's 1,000% true. Again, we're all leaders in our own respect, in the sense that we all have people that look up to us. We have siblings and families, and even if you're hanging out in one of our beautiful Jewish high schools in San Diego here, you have people that look up to you. That's just the nature of life, is as you kind of move up the totem pole, you're going to have people that look up to you. So when you're in that situation, right, and you see that the ability to develop exists, right, that there's an opportunity to become spiritually better, that's a time and people are taking advantage. If you're sitting back on the sidelines and being like, cool, I'm really glad you're taking advantage of this development opportunity, but you're not in there, that's when you're not a good leader. So the amazing thing is, right, God is totally fine throughout the Torah putting our greatest people in their place. He gets upset at Abraham. He gets upset at Moses, right? But instead of what usually happens over here, where you think, well, Aaron clearly showed not a good example of leadership, not only does God not scold him, and God says, oh, what kind of a leader are you? God says, you're right. Don't worry. I'm giving you something that's even better. I'm giving you the ability, a service that is going to be done. It's not just like a one-time gift. You're going to be working day in and day out in the temple. And more than that, the menorah, right, the for our non-Jewish friends that are watching this, the special candelabra that stayed in the temple, right, that later became a menorah that we light on Hanukkah traditionally. And so this idea that, and Rashi, the famous commentator, says that not only are you going to be engaged for all of your life, but, right, you are going to have your children being engaged for all of their life in this ceremony that becomes part of Jewish life for all eternity. So the reason why I think, right, God was so successful, that Aaron's jealousy, Aaron's frustration, Aaron's disappointment was so successful that not only did he not get, oh, you also can give a gift, but he also got, you're going to be involved forever and you're always going to be growing, is because Aaron wanted to take advantage of this perpetual growth mindset that a Jewish leader has to have. So that means that if you want to be a leader, doesn't mean be a leader and then learn to grow. It means that even before you're a leader, even when you're a small leader, be open to a perpetual growth mindset. Be upset when someone else is growing and you're not growing. Look for the pain, look for the challenge, and that's how you grow ultimately to be a positive impact for as many people as you can. Shabbat Shalom.